The following broadcast is a Nighthawk Network presentation.
What up, people? What's going on? It's your boy E-Buck, the Nerdle, in the building. And once again, it is time for us to talk sports as we do here on this local Detroit podcast known as Gametime Audible. I am here ready to talk some sports with y'all this evening. Of course, I am joined by my partner in crime, the man with the master plan, that dude right over there to the side of us, halfway in the screen at the moment, that one and only brother, Hugh Lee. What's going on, Hugh?
What's good, E? How everything going, man?
Well, you know we trying to maintain over here. I know it's been a little
Yeah,
rough for the last few weeks, but we hanging in there, bro. You know how we do.
yeah. I
Breaking
just
news.
seen a few things that that maybe catch my attention actually. Because if you ain't know by now, I want to get that kind of out the way. Most of the NFL talk. Because we got some basketball and we definitely got the NCAA stuff to get to as far as the tournaments. But yeah, man, people not aware of it. Sunday, man, around noon is going to be the free agent frenzy. So if people are interested in seeing what moves is going to be made throughout the different teams and players getting traded,
Have you been
it's going to
scrolling
start.
Facebook and looking for that quick sports fix? Uh-oh.
Great is the free agent frenzy coming up this Sunday. You can kind of flirt with the guys you want on your team, and technically they won't be officially signed yet until March the 15th. But the 8th, you'll see all the willing and dealing and all the free agent excitement going around the NFL league.
Now you already know, Hugh, as we know, most of these discussions already been had, already done. They just waiting on the appropriate time.
Yeah,
But of course,
absolutely.
you know how that goes. Basically, if the cat get out the bag early, it's collusion. It's you plotting. You lose draft picks. We don't want that. So they have to keep it on the low. But people like, for example, probably the main free agent of note. Well, he's not necessarily a free agent, but he is basically what most people are talking about these days. One Aaron Rodgers. I pretty much assume that at this point he's made up his decision. And if not, I think the organization, which would be the Green Bay Packers, have already made a decision that they're pretty much ready to move on from him. And if I was them, as we mentioned last week, I pretty much would move on from him. It's time to go in a different direction. Basically, if we going with Jordan Love, let's see what he got. If not, let's see what we can get in this draft. And of course, we got the one and only Road to Stardom checking in to the broadcast. What's going on, Road?
What's happening, Ro? How everything going?
As always, follow our good buddy Road to Stardom on all your media outlets, in particular Facebook and Instagram for Road to Stardom TV and radio. Road always doing her thing over there. Please check it out. But yeah, basically, like I said, we already got a few things and went down. Okay, we got Road. You think KD was a good trade for the Suns? Is her question. So do a quick audible on that.
Starting not to look like it, man. That dude got injured in warm-ups, man. He's starting to become too injury prone, man. He getting up there with that glass conversation now. Every time I look up, I'm thinking, yeah, he's starting to get a little bit more like AD now. AD and KD is kind of starting to intertwine and be the same person because you hear of that happening sometimes in a league, and you be like, wow, because I believe somebody else got hurt during warm up today, if I'm not mistaken. But it's just strange to have that happen when you're warming up and you get hurt like that. He twisted his ankle. If a lot of people didn't see it. And I'm like, man, because I still feel like with him, they will have a chance to go deep into the playoffs. But then I just now have a feeling that it's either going to be him, it's going to be Chris Paul, or even Devin Booker been having his injury issues. Somebody's going to get hurt, and that's going to negate a lot of their success this year. So, yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on with them and how far it's going to take them. But the trade, it seemed good at the time. But if he can't stay healthy, I'm not sure right now.
I mean, to answer your question, Ro, yes, I still think KD was a good trade for the Suns. It was a freak accident, okay? I mean, if you look at it, like I said, you basically go on your YouTube and check it out. It was just one of them things. He was warming up and slid on something, and boom. I mean, blame the people that maintain the floor, what have you. It pretty much could have happened to anybody. Just unfortunately, it happened to your best player who's had injury issues. And of course, it's an injury that's on one of his legs, and any lower extremity issue with KD is going to be newsworthy. When all is said and done, it's a twisted ankle. They're not seeing any structural damage or anything, so he'll probably miss a couple weeks. And in this day and age of load management, he probably's gonna miss a few of those games anyway. So I still say they're in the mix. But again, for those who basically thought, okay, he's going to the Suns, that puts them in the finals automatically. I wasn't thinking that from get go, and of course, I'm definitely not thinking that now. So that's just my thoughts on that one, Hugh.
Yeah, because the finals is pushing it, man. I still feel like it's a lot of teams that give them challenges regardless of having KD. And I'm not trying to be funny. It just seems like the few years in the past, spite when he won with Golden State after he left and he went on to Brooklyn, it didn't seem like even with him being somewhat healthy that even got them anywhere. I mean, let's be honest. So
But like
yeah.
I said, we'll get into the NBA again a little bit more later. But okay, well, nope. Let's hold that thought, bro. Got another question for us. Do you think Chris Paul will ever get a ring? I think if he is to get one, it's gonna have to be this year or next year. After that, I don't see Chris Paul playing beyond that. So,
Yeah, I would definitely like for him to get one, man. I was hurt when he didn't get it the last time. No disrespect to the Bucks, but yeah, I definitely want him to get it that year.
yeah, I mean, if you put the piece to my head, I would have to say, no, it looked like he going the road to Charles Barkley and Karl
Mhm.
Malone and several others who was basically great in the league, but that's the one thing they didn't accomplish. But again, getting back to the football situation, Hugh, as we know, we already dealt with franchise tag season and what happened with some of those situations. If you want to have a quick discussion on a couple of those in particular.
The biggest franchise tag was I don't know what's going on with Lamar Jackson as far as him trying to negotiate because
Yes, you
I
do.
feel like him not having no agent, man, definitely doesn't help him because he's in a situation right now where the Ravens like we're not gonna bite, we're not gonna spend a lot of unnecessary money if we don't have to. I still feel like you said, with the Deshaun Watson thing, I don't think that was something that they should have necessarily did in Cleveland, but they looked at it like that was the only way that was going to get them. Because when we talked before, I was telling you at the time, hearing from a source that Atlanta had to really botch on that situation for him to go over there. And it was just they didn't botch. It was just the money, when Cleveland stuck up that money at the last minute. Then all of a sudden, Deshaun Watson had a change of heart, and I still feel like, regardless of the fact that he got that type of guaranteed money, I still feel like Lamar Jackson, a guy who's never gotten in trouble, has been an MVP in the league and the Russian champion, and had led the league at one point in passing yards. I still feel like that he definitely should get that contract that he won. But it's just the guaranteed money, man. That's probably asking too much right now.
Okay, well, we all know about the ill-fated initial offer they offered him of the 135 million. That offer was disrespectful. We all know that based on what everybody else is getting and asking for now. Here's the one thing I ain't heard no talking head or not even you, the sports guru, talk about. Understanding that yes, Lamar and basically his mother is his agent. Remember, in most standard contracts with agents these days, the agency or agent typically gets 10% of your total earnings, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so understand, Lamar, you saving money by not having an agent is something you also need to factor in getting your contract. So, according to the rumors, you're looking for something along the lines of 250 million guaranteed. Understand if you get 225 or even 200, it is still somewhat equivalent to what uh, your counterpart in Cleveland got because remember, he still has to pay that 10% and some change, and you do not. So that 10% you keeping in your pockets, that pretty much makes up for what you're not getting. So also understand that Baltimore has to run an organization, and if you take up between 15 to 20% at a salary cap with this huge contract, you're handicapping them from getting other potentially good players to go with you. Understand the way that the biggest contract in the NFL, that would be Patrick Mahomes' contract, is situated. There are certain things to where there's give to where they can work things out. And I'm pretty sure Patrick is not going to make that whole 450 million moving forward if he wants to keep winning Super Bowls because you got to look at it like Tom Brady did at some point. Yeah, I'll take less money, but in the end, we're going to keep winning. So these are all things you have to consider in this contract situation. That being said, he is now franchise tag with the lesser of the two franchise tags, which basically gives him the opportunity to go to other teams, go with the best deal, and see if Baltimore will match it, or if not, go with the two first round picks. I think at this point, Baltimore is ready to let him go.
I don't see them basically saying, okay, we're going to fold and this is what we're going to pay. I'd be surprised if it happened. But if that happened, I wouldn't be disappointed in that. No disrespect to Lamar. I still feel like he's a great player. And by him not really getting in trouble, it makes it a little bit more difficult too for them not to try to do something to make him satisfied. But if it's going above and beyond like that and crippling that franchise to where they can't get talent for the future, then I would take them two first round draft picks. I'm not trying to be funny and I say he's an excellent player, but you should get some type of decent quarterback who's coming out, because Caleb is still in college right now, man, So what if he decided to come out? You could go after a guy like that, and then you could still have two first round picks in that whole situation. And then depending on if he goes to another team and say another team did pick him up. If they did pick him up, they get the compensatory picks too. So they get those picks, and I still feel like I've seen a lot of people get a lot of picks like that when a person leave or one of their coaches leave. I just think that the Ravens are smart and they're gonna do what's best for that organization, not best for Lamar Jackson. I still feel like people look at it like, man, what's going on with him is disrespectful, and it's not really something that they should do, and they shouldn't treat him that way. But come on now, let's be honest. Is he trying to do too much right now? And that's what I think. I think without him having an agent or somebody who could talk to him in his ear and he wants what he wants and he don't really want to compromise, I think that's what's the situation that I don't think the Ravens are really too much care about and will let him go at
But
some
see,
point.
then of course, that was just the story on Tuesday. Now, what's being reported in the following days is the fact that several teams have already let Lamar know, no, we're not interested. And not only are they letting him know that, they're making it public consumption, something that normally does not happen. Usually those conversations are kept under the radar. So what some people are pointing out are they dealing with this differently because Lamar's his own agent, or perhaps we're dealing with another situation involving or something to that effect. What's your thoughts on that, Hugh?
It's definitely that first and foremost, but at the same time, nowadays people are not going to take risk of giving up 2 first-round picks. You really have to be a special person, because people felt like with Russell Wilson and his resume that him doing that or them giving up those picks that was all they needed was a quarterback, and then
I'm so glad you brought that up, Hugh, because I think that definitely comes into play in this scenario. What happened with Russell Wilson last year when the basically Broncos gave up the farm to get him, and you see the results thus far. Now, granted, we all figured that it's definitely going to be better this year under one of the best offensive minds in football, Sean Payton. But in the same token, you got to look at, okay, is it worth it for any individual player, regardless of what type of talents we've seen him possess, to give up that type of cachet just to get him?
Yeah, because it's like I just don't see it, man. 2 first-round picks is a lot. And like you said, Denver gave up. Pardon me?
I said, unless, of course, you got a few extra ones.
Yeah, that definitely helps because we have a couple of them, but I think go after him. Nah, man. We got a lot of draft capital too, financially, as far as money and all. I looked up because me and my nephew was talking, and it surprised me when we were talking. And I was like, I'm trying to figure out how much they have to spend, and at $272 million.
Mm-hmm. Now, on the one hand, Hugh, I gotta admit, I would love to see Lamar Jackson in the Lions uniform. But on the other hand, I need us to be smart about it. When all is said and done, remember, you the franchise tagged me for this year. He in Baltimore. You still got who we got over here. You see what he get done. If we feel like this is the ceiling for Jared Goff, at that point, next year comes, Lamar's a free agent because they're not gonna franchise him again, and we see what we can do to him.
Yeah, because I feel like it's going to be a lot of talent coming out next year in free agency. Plus, there's going to be a lot of talented kids, like I said, like Caleb Williams, and if he decides to leave, and it's going to be a lot of good stuff going on and interesting things to see what's going to happen with. My man's Lamar Jackson. I still feel like people will look at it like we'll rather get him and take a risk on a guy that we already know is proven in the NFL rather than a guy who's just coming out of college and we don't know his ceiling quite yet.
Right. So yeah, we definitely got that going. Then of course we had the Dallas Cowboys who put the franchise tag on the running back, Mr. Pollard. I thought that was a good move on their part because he's better backs in the league, and you definitely want to keep the majority of what you got going in addition to trying to add some things. Of course, I know you heard the rumor about them possibly looking into getting young D-Hop over there.
Yeah, it's a lot of teams that's interested in trying to get him, man. But it's a lot of things I've looked at too, man. And I said, man, there's a lot of receivers that's like on that carousel right now, man, and moving in the market. Yeah, that's one of them definitely that I've been hearing about. And it was guys in the league right now who that rumor's been spinning around, but it's a lot of teams will be interested in D-Hop, man. And I'm not really hearing a lot like they want like so much for him. I was just hearing like a second rounder or maybe a future third round pick, which the Cowboys should definitely jump on that. But then too, today I was still hearing that they were interested in Odell Beckham, and he was doing workouts, and the Giants and the Cowboys and some of the other, teams who was involved or interested in him last year supposed to be going to that actual workout.
Right. And of course, you didn't see a recent commercial with him basically saying that he's healthy, and we'll have to see how that goes. Give me a second, Hugh. Yeah, keep in mind, people, there are certain issues that are associated with my present physical condition. One of them is the light tends to bother my eyes after a while, so do forgive me for throwing the shades in on y'all, but it is definitely helpful and necessary in some situations. This being one of them, because right then the sun was bright. Let's put it that way. But moving forward,
I want to discuss Daniel Jones receiving his 4-year, $160 million deal. 82 million guarantee, and that can go up too with incentives like closer to like 92 million.
Bottom line, I feel like they overpaid for him, but in this market, they kind of had to. I mean, I do believe, for most decent quarterbacks, particularly any quarterback that's made it to the playoffs, 40 million pretty much the going rate. So I think that's pretty much what the market is set for your starting quarterback here in the NFL, somewhere in that 35, 40 million range. So that and the fact that it is New York and they can afford it, it is what it is.
It was a smart move on my behalf due to the fact that if he had an even better year, which I think he's going to have a pretty decent ceiling because he do have Brian Daboll over there, and you've seen what he did in just season number 1, and now he's used to the playbook and will be able to go in and plug and play. But the difference is this year it'll definitely have to be different as far as them doing a better job of getting him some outside help, because he had Darius Slayton as one of his main wide receivers, and I just didn't really feel like they gave him a lot to play with. It's messed up too because I could say the Galladay was one of the guys who was his receivers, but
Who?
Galladay, Kitty Galladay. But I know you heard he's out of here. They're definitely about to get rid of him.
You saw what type of production they got on Galladay last year. Of course, he's out of there.
Yeah, he robbed that organization. So yeah, they're kind of getting wide receiver help right now. I think if they can get that for him, the contract they had is basically kind of a steal right now. So that being said, too, that him getting his money and not being franchise tagged, they had to go and franchise tag Saquon Barkley. Now he's on a $10.1 million deal. I feel like in this case too, they wanted to get their franchise quarterback right now. Love Saquon, man. Think he's a great talent, but I still feel like him getting his tag is one of the reasons because he hasn't been too healthy his whole football time that he's been playing in the NFL.
Well, when you look at the running back position, period, Hugh, what running back do you know in the league that's been productive and fully healthy multiple years? Pretty much any running back you could look at in the league and has some type of issue, which is why they are being devalued. Not to mention, we understand what happened when we gave out the big contracts to people like Ezekiel Elliott or Le'Veon Bell. And basically, once that happened, it seemed like, okay, I'm satisfied now. My production about to go down because I got my money.
And not only that, he would devalues that running back position too. No disrespect, I do love John Robinson. I think he's a hell of a talent, and he possibly might be a late first-round draft pick. But at the same time, that's still taking a risk because when you get guys like that high in the draft, you got to put in what can I say? You got to put in mind that Kansas City Chiefs are the Super Bowl champs, and they got Pacheco, and he was a 7th-round draft pick. And he's played as good as he did as a running back. So that's the difference right now. It's like that's what's hurting the running back position, and that's what's devaluing them. I don't think they're going to be getting
like
money.
Running back is a dime a dozen, and we got $1. So
and I don't think they're going to pay them like that no more, man.
I think. We look at the running backs from the standpoint of most teams, they go with multiple running backs. So just to pay one running back a certain amount of money don't seem to make much sense these days.
Because think about it. When they did that with Zeke, was Zeke better than in the last 2 years than Tony Pollard? Absolutely not.
No, sir.
All right. I know you heard rumors about Aaron Rodgers, man. Him receiving permission to talk to the New York Jets. The Jets brass flew down to LA to talk to him and have a conversation with him. We'll know more Sunday how that conversation went because, man, a lot of people are saying they don't want that to happen who played in New York, but that'll be a good situation for Aaron Rodgers, man, to go to New York with that young, talented team. And I think he crippled that Green Bay team enough with the money he didn't have because they are not really able to get a lot of talent over there. But like you said, I know they're tired of it. And the whole flirting with him retiring and stuff, you don't know what you have with him right now. He's kind of a ticking time bomb,
Yeah,
and I think like
again, you
move
don't like
on and they're going to
comparison.
get of.
You
Oh,
don't like
pardon me.
comparison, but we done been here before with Green Bay. It is sounding a lot like the whole situation with Brett Favre all over again, even down to the team he ended up going to.
Because it doesn't make sense to me that if he continues to say I want to retire, unless he came to Green Bay and said I would take a pay cut to try to get the talent that we need over here, which I don't think he would because he let his boy walk because he wanted to get the money versus keeping Devontae Adams. I still feel like they could have paid him, but they told him, well, if you get this money right here, Rodgers, and they told him before they made the move, we already planned on moving on without Devontae Adams, and he signed. So it looked like he was more about himself than, having the team surrounded him, and they suffered big time this season because of that.
Bottom line is, it's starting to get on my nerves. And I know I ain't the only one. Like I said, just listening to the talking heads this week, we definitely don't want this to be one of those situations, like I said, similar to that one where it stretched out beyond April and May and we still figure out. Bottom line, he's not retired. If he was going to retire, he would have said so last week when he came off the dark room. We know he's not retired. It's just the issue of, okay, who thinks I'm the prettiest? What chance can I get to get that one more ring so I can get a little bit more shine before I move on to whatever big money deal I already got semi set up somewhere. That's what that's about to me. So if he goes to the Jets, would I be surprised? Absolutely not.
Well, this right now is considered a rumor, but it's going to be facts soon as Sunday hit or March the 15th when technically the physical year began. I kind of seen this happening already, man, because I looked the last couple years and seen my man's Adam Thielen getting faded out of the offense. Yeah, man, they're talking about right now. He might be a cap casualty, and that's one of the guys that they're going to release on the team. And Adam Thielen is a exceptional receiver, but now they're looking at it, and it's like, they're gonna have to pay my man's Justin Jefferson soon, and he's like 11.8 million on the cap hit right now, and releasing him, I believe that they have saved like 6.5 million if they get rid of him outright right now, like just outright and say, we want to move on. I still feel like he's a serviceable receiver, but I just still feel like the money that he's getting doesn't match the production, unfortunately, that he's been giving them the last few years.
Actually, yeah, Thielen is a good receiver, but he's no Justin Jefferson. He's not even.
Yep.
And like I said, you do have to pay that man. You want to retain him, and you want to pay him big time. You basically want to pay him like he is the number one receiver in the National Football League. So whatever that price tag is, that's what you're looking at. So yeah, he is going to be a cap casualty, I believe. I agree with you. Remember, they're not completely lost without him because not only do you got Jefferson, but you also got the guy that you picked up from the Lions who made out pretty good over there in Minnesota at tight end. So
And they got KJ Osborne, who really been stepping up his game. That's a lot of people been sleeping on that kid, man. I'm not too big of a fan of him, because the one game I felt like we should have won when our safety got hurt. He got that game for them, and I felt like we could have shut out them too, as well as what we did with Green Bay. But they got some serviceable weapons, and at the same time, I still feel like, man, don't get it twisted. I don't think that they're going to try to pick up nobody in the first round, but second, third round is, is ball game when it comes to trying to get.
No. You forget in order to get that tight end they got from the Lions, they second and third round pick is our picks now.
Yeah, you're right. Damn, I forgot all about that. So yeah, man, they better just try to get something to free agency or just reach for the stars, man, and hoping they can get something out of it because definitely forgot. Yeah, they took a hit on that, man. Which I still feel like it is crazy to say this, man, and I don't got no beef with Hawkins. I didn't like what he said, and I thought it was a spit in the face when he left, how he, was acting and how he took a shot at Martine. But I felt like the tight end play, guys we wasn't even really familiar with, actually was better. Do you agree with that?
I agree with that. And keep in mind, like I said, the one kid in particular, the one that was hurt when we drafted him and basically came on at the end of the season, I say definitely look out for him next year to be a lot more productive in terms of our offense. But Hawkinson basically was salty when he left. I understand that. He got traded, and it basically was reported early on he didn't want to get traded. But once he was there, basically saw that they was gonna show him more love. He started acting funny style. You know how that goes.
Man, I know, I was surprised you talked about some topics that you usually don't like to talk about last week, especially about the gentleman from Georgia, and all the craziness that he's been involved.
Unfortunately, this is not just our show; it's the people's show, and these are some of the things they bring up on the timelines and whatnot. So I would be neglectful if I don't at least bring them up. And I know we're gonna get to that story in a minute, but before that, there is one more big rumor that's been going around that I want to discuss with you in the NFL in regards to one Derrick Henry, who apparently is being shopped around now by the Titans. What's your thoughts on that?
That's crazy, man. I was hearing that from their new brass because they don't have the same people in play that they had before. And now they're saying they don't really have any strings to Derrick Henry. I think that they're trying to get as much King's ransom as they could for him because that guy is still a machine and he's still one of the best running backs in the game. He's like, man, he damn near like a running back and a half.
That being said, what would you be willing to give up to get Derrick Henry?
I would probably give up first round and the third round this year and maybe a second round next year. But I'm not gonna give up nothing too crazy. And that depends on, can you let me finish this up? Did you let me hear me out? But that depends on how much of a running back needy team I am. I still feel like if a team like Buffalo get inside of this, which is I've been hearing rumors that him and Von Miller have been training and there's been some mutual interest. I still feel like if anything, I know if he still has a big contract and they're trying to get, to the point where they like, well, we don't want to pay off this contract. Then they're going to have to soften the blow because I definitely feel like he's going to be getting the King's ransom. I don't think it's going to be nothing too crazy, but yeah, I think it'll be, if not like a first round draft pick this year and maybe a future second and third, it will be something depending on what team and depending on the need.
No, first of all, I could not give up a first round for any running back in the National Football League right now. First round pick, no. A second round pick, I could see that, and a late round pick, and perhaps a player. But in terms of the King's ransom that they want, I don't think people are going to offer that to them unless you feel like the running back is exactly what you need to get over the top. So if you go to a team like a Buffalo, and basically that's where Buffalo is, then okay, I can see you getting over on them. But most teams, I don't see them giving up that type of cachet to get a running back that's basically on the verge of third in this day and age of running backs being like toilet paper.
Because I still feel like with him, he just, I mean, the defense was great over there in Tennessee when they were healthy. The offense was a little shaky. Hell, he was the offense because what surprised me was they paid most of that money to Tannehill when he's not even an offense. That didn't make no sense to me. I think with Josh Allen and those weapons they have over there, yeah, man. And at the same time, too, I'm thinking about it. It ain't too many about what's going to happen on Sunday and who's going to stay and who's going to go. It ain't too many players that might still be left over there. They got 18 free agents, man. So it's not looking too good for Buffalo. So, yeah, as far as the players, They would really have to have somebody, which I still believe they would give up one of the running backs to somebody over there, like Cooks or somebody to compensate that, and maybe a second, third round pick, which I think Cooks wouldn't be that bad going over there because he'll get some pretty decent play, even though I know that Singletary, they rotated those guys, but at the same time, I think that he'll get a little bit more run over there in Tennessee. But yeah, I definitely feel like they're going to have to give up something and woe him or woe them in their organization. But at the same time, who still says that he possibly will be traded? Do I think that he could be? Yeah, but it just depends on what direction they want to go in. And I still feel like you said, he's getting up there in age, and they're going to put out what they want, and they're going to listen. At the end of the day, they're going to definitely listen, and if they listen and like what they hear, he'll be gone by Sunday.
And that being said, I feel like if they do get rid of him, Tannehill ain't too far behind.
And that's the surprise part about it, because Tannehill's worth more money. They spent more money keeping him there, and it's like you go to keep him, who technically he started to his production went down a lot. At first, they didn't ask him to do much, just give the ball to Derrick Henry, and then when you see an opening or when you see an opportunity, take it. Now he's taken too many opportunities. I remember the last few years that they wanted more or less, once he got that type of money, for him to start putting the ball in his hands in situations. And he's been stinking up the game, man. He's threw a lot of interceptions, made a lot of bad decisions. He's starting to look like how he did when he was over there with the Miami Dolphins. So, yeah, I'm surprised that he's not the guy right now with the target on his back.
Okay, then a couple quick questions. Then I got one more. Okay, one, do you think they set him up to fail when they traded AJ Brown? And two, basically, if Willis had been more NFL ready, would we even be having this discussion? Would he already be gone?
He definitely would have been gone if Willis was NFL ready, but as we see, that guy wasn't good at all last year. He stunk. And you've seen flashes, but it wasn't enough, man. And I feel like maybe he'd be a little bit more prepared this up and coming season. But yeah, I still feel like if he would have came out and he looked like a Justin Hubbard and he came out ready like that, we wouldn't even been having that conversation. And Tannehill will already be gone into another team. But at the end of the day, I feel like too that did hurt them with the AJ Brown situation, and that's why they fired the general manager, because him making that move, that wasn't a good deal. And it was funny to me they did it right after that Eagles game. That's what made it a little bit more intriguing as well.
Like I said, it was dumb on their part, but of course, Philly, they love him. One more rumor I got to address in terms of this latest situation is apparently it's been put out there that once again, some people think Brady's considering coming back, and this time for the team known as the Miami Dolphins. What are you hearing about that?
I've heard that rumor, but now at this point, I really don't care, man. He's starting to get to the point where I'm starting to get tired of hearing about him as well. I just feel like the first time he retired, I was like, I finally started to get to the point where I was going to accept it. Then when he came back, he just basically, that team just looked terrible. They looked old and slow. And now it'll be a pretty good opportunity in Miami. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, I'm definitely tired of that game. I hope that he do what's right and just sit at home. Like I said, man, he don't have nothing to prove no more, man. He is the GOAT. The only person I feel like can give him a challenge for Super Bowls right now, if he can stay healthy, is Patrick Mahomes. But then at the same time, man, that's a hard record to chase, man. So I just feel like right now he can destroy his legacy, keep coming back like that, man, because last year started to remind me of how Michael Jordan was when he was with the Washington Wizards. So I just hope he stays put. That'd be what's best for him right now, in my opinion.
Well, like I said, I don't feel like it destroyed Michael's legacy when he came back. And remember, the 2 or 3 years after he retired the second time, it was still talking him coming back. And at one point he actually was working on it. Just for whatever reason, finally decided, no, I'm not gonna do it. But we'll see what happens this weekend as far as that goes.
You basically, his legacy wasn't tampered with when he went to Washington.
No, I don't think so. Mike's still Mike. I mean, when all is said and done, in the eyes of most people my age and older, he is still the greatest player of all time.
All right, man. Enough beating around the bush, man. We got to talk about it with this idiot Ja Morant and getting caught up and doing what he did. Not only did he make a mistake, first off, what was the worst part about this all? It wasn't like the fact that y'all won the game. You lose the game, then you go to a strip joint in Denver and pull out a gun on live Instagram, man. Like, why would you do that? People look at it like, well, we need to talk to him. And, he was saying and making all types of crazy excuses about why he did what he did. But yeah, it's just simple, man. If I'm in a strip club and I pull out my phone and I click that Instagram button and then I click another button to go live and I'm showing you me live and I pull out a gun, man, that's on me, man. That's a bad decision on his part. And we've talked about this before. He don't have to try to play that role because he grew up from a good family. He went to good schools, got a good education. It's not like he lived that life, man. And he don't even have to portray that life because, I mean, what do you have to prove? Because he's going to get a pretty decent contract. If teams are not scared away from him, that is. But I wouldn't be surprised if he got like a 4-year, $200 million contract or something in that range. And because NBA players get paid pretty good and they don't have a lot of years on their contract when they do get their money. But he shouldn't be trying to live that life when he never lived it. And even if you did live that life, man, why would you want to continue to live that life, man? That's why I feel like guys like Allen Iverson and other guys who've been through those situations need to come up and talk to him because it's not making him look good right now, man. And for a good player and a guy we rooted on and we cheered for a while and is entertaining to watch, that can put a damper in his career. And I just hope that his parents more or less, talk to him about that, man. And because I know before my parents passed, the main thing they said, wherever I went anywhere, I represented them and don't make a fool out of myself and don't tarnish their name. And that was just basically it wasn't poor parenting. It was just poor decision on his part because you can't blame his parents because the parents can't be there 24/7 with him. It's just the people he's affiliated and hanging around right now doesn't make him look good. And he's following in that footstep, which it's a stupid move.
Well, basically, as you know, Hugh, I hate talking about these stories. I really do. But unfortunately, like I said, because of the media and what have you, we are forced to basically do that because people love the drama. I mean, when you basically look up what's trending, the Ja Morant was definitely trending for days at a time on TikTok and Twitter and everything else. So, like I said, I would be neglectful not to put in my 2 cents on it. That being said, I need Ja Morant to understand you ain't no gangster no more than your teammate Dylan Brooks is a thug. So what you are, sir, is a millionaire. And as a multimillionaire looking to make even more millions, you just got to make better decisions. I understand that as a 23-year-old coming out of the neighborhood and whatnot, getting NBA fame and still at the same time wanting to keep your old friends and not look like a sellout or bougie or whatever the case may be. I mean, you have to realize sometimes in life you just got to do what's best for you and your future. And if in the end you not being around those people so you don't feel the necessity to have to show your toughness, and Lord knows in that video you look no type of tough at all. You look stupid. You really did. But I really need you to take the counsel and advice, particularly from somebody that was very much in your shoes. And shout out and much credit must be given to one of the people that I have much respect for in this day and age. One, Jalen Rose, who came out and basically pointed out that, yeah, at some point in his life, he was very much Ja Morant. And, he learned from his mistakes and learned the consequences of his actions. And as a result, moved to do better and be better. And with the type of things that Jalen Rose is doing with his life now, with him being a mentor to many young people, him opening his Jalen Rose Academy, him running his foundation that's helping young men and women get to college and all of that. I'm very proud of what he has accomplished in his life. And hopefully Ja Morant can move on and do similar things in his career, in his life. And that we basically move past this because you already know when we mess up, and when I talk we, unfortunately, we again talking about, it definitely seems to be magnified even more so than our Caucasian counterparts, unfortunately.
And Ja Morant's suspension definitely helped with Memphis' struggles right now because I believe they dropped a lot of games too, man. And some of the games they were up one of the games they were up pretty big and they lost. I still feel like his presence on that team is needed. And not only did he let his parents down, he let that organization down, definitely let his teammates down. And I think that he needed to reconsider, man, because those guys, when he come back in the locker room, he needs to apologize and be all in because that wasn't really a good example for anyone. And like I said, man, for the most part, yeah, he let his parents down, but he more or less let that organization and his teammates down. So I'm definitely hoping that he can come back, and when he do come back, he come back with a better mind state and to do better and lead by example. Don't be a follower.
I also want to say that hopefully this does not affect the prospects of his sister, who is basically a very high-ranked high school player looking to get into a major college. And I'm hoping that people don't basically lump her by association and choose not to contend with her based on the actions of her older brother. I really hope that people don't look on her unfavorably because of that.
And that's going to definitely happen, unfortunately.
I sadly have to agree, Hugh. But what we're gonna do now is take a commercial break so we can get up and stretch because we old folks with issues, so we got to do what we got to do right quick. But when we come back, we're gonna get to the second half of the show. We're gonna talk a lot of basketball during that segment, particularly in regards to the NBA and the course upcoming tournament with the NCAA. So stay tuned. This is Gametime Audible. That dude right there is Hugh Lee. I'm of course your boy E-Buck the Nighthawk, and we will get back with you after these fine messages from some of the people and products that we endorse here in the Nighthawk Network.
Come on now. Okay, black on. Get into it. Black on. Look at that David Ford right there. That's his thing. Black on. He don't know Tom. Look at that David Ford. That's his thing. He don't know Tom. Yeah. Yes. Oh, here we go. Oh, I can't see the demons. I can't see the demons, but I can see the light.
We are creating black luxury across this country.
Nighthawk Network presents Pastor Sean Love.
Hello, hello, hello. It's another glorious day, my T-Sippers, and you know what time it is. I hope you have all of your comforts together because it's time to dish tea. And you're dishing tea, darlings, with Big Meech.
Can't wait. It's time to dish tea with Big Meech. It's time to dish tea with Big Meech. It's time to dish tea with Big Meech. It's time to dish tea with Big Meech.
Darling.
Have you been scrolling Facebook and looking for that quick sports fix? Want a quick peek of what's going on in the latest sports news? Check out Pure to the Game Sports Blog with the sports guru, QD Lee. He'll get you together. Check it out. Follow it on Facebook. Make sure you like it. The views and or opinions expressed here on Gametime Audible is that of the host and or guest, and does not necessarily reflect those of the Nighthawk Network or its affiliates. Viewer and listening discretion is advised. All right, we are back. It is Gametime Audible. I am one of your hosts, E-Buck the Nighthawk, and of course, you, the sports guru over there, the Pure to the Game creator himself. We are back to talk some more sports with you. Where did we leave off, Hugh?
Basically, we was talking about NBA. We was discussing more or less NBA stuff that was going on around the league.
All right, so what you got for me, Hugh?
I want basically to talk. I want to intertwine both of these because they're important because this is the Eastern Conference right now that I'll be discussing. Right now, you have Boston, who had two really good games, man, who lost in overtime. And you have the Milwaukee Bucks 16-game win streak snapped. Right now, Milwaukee is in the league right now, and they lead the Eastern Conference. That's going to go down to a dogfight. But right now, I still feel like, if anything, Milwaukee got the upper hand because the game that they've been playing and how well they've been playing, like when Drew Holiday stepped up when Giannis was out, I definitely feel like they're the team to beat right now. No disrespect to Boston because I still feel like they're a dangerous team. And it's not that I don't have confidence in Boston. I just still feel like the coach, man, I just still have gripes with him and some of his game management and decisions. I feel like if Udoka was still, there, it'd possibly be different. And, Boston would possibly be in the driver's seat. But right now, I just feel like Milwaukee got too much manpower, and they didn't really have to do much when it came to like getting trades and acquiring picks. Jay Crowder was a good enough asset to them, and plus the way everybody else is playing. And I was hearing that Gordon Dragic supposed to have been going over there too after his buyout in his contract. What are your thoughts?
Well, that deal actually did happen. He's basically working out some things to get him reacclimated to the lineup. So I do believe they did indeed add him. But here's the thing, and I actually are going to introduce a third team into that conversation. One, Philadelphia 76ers, that are definitely trending up. Keeping in mind that they did actually beat the Bucks last Sunday in a very good game that we saw on Sunday on ABC, who's basically doing a stand-up job of picking the right games to show and they showcase. But as far as Boston goes, I do see them in a slump right now. Keep in mind, it seems like everything goes great with them when you get both Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum on that same page and they both playing up to their maximum effort. But we don't get that enough. We're not seeing that enough. Usually it's either one hot or the other's hot. Those games when they both is cooking, that team is basically impossible to beat at that point. The other problem I'm having with Boston is the fact that one of the key components that's going to help them long term in the playoffs. And I think in the future, one Robert Williams, he is not being consistent and he is not staying healthy. And I really think in order for them to get to that next level, they need him to develop and be that person in the middle that's basically going to cause disruption, but also be disruptive. Because when you look at the Giannis's and the Joel Embiid's and Nicole Jokic's of the world, you're gonna need a person in that post to be dominant in order for you to get to that next level. So there's that. And then of course, like I said, I'm definitely liking the improvement of the Philadelphia 76ers. They're definitely starting to work things out, particularly with Embiid and of course James Harden, who's been playing great. You know, he's actually took in the lesser role of saying, okay, I don't have to be that guy, but I could be the man standing next to the man and still be productive. And that's definitely helping. And now, of course, they got Maxey starting to come on now. So if we can get that three-headed monster going, they definitely gonna have something to say in regards to who wins the East.
Right now in the West, you have of course, Denver Nuggets, who are at the top of the division, but a surprise in second place, even though they are tied with the same record as Sacramento. And then you have Memphis, who is in third place. But I think for the most part, the surprise of it was definitely they were in third place, but to be second place right now in that a hard Western Conference, I wanted to ask you a question. Do you think that they will be able to keep that number 2 seed, or would they sizzle out closer to the end of the season, which is not that many?
I think they don't end up second. But that being said, we got to put some respect on their name. The unfortunate part is that Sacramento is a small market team and one of those teams that the NBA is not promoting. So even though they are playing very well, and Mike Brown definitely is coach of the year at this point, as far as I'm concerned, said that last week, said it again this week. You know, they are not getting the marquee that they should. But I look at it just like last year when you seen the New Orleans Pelicans started to come on late in the season, and once the playoffs got here, they started playing on a level where we definitely thought we'd be talking about them more so than we have this season. I think this is their time in Sacramento. They need to take advantage of this. They definitely need to not only finish strong, but when the playoffs come, show that they belong there. That it just wasn't a fluke of a season and they kind of slid through the cracks. So I'm really hoping that they continue to prosper there. But that being said, you know, Memphis gonna get it together once Ja get back. You would assume that, and then again, you know, you still got to be mindful of teams like the Golden State Warriors, who are starting to play better, but it's something about when they're not at home. That's the thing. I do not understand why the team with basically one of the best records in the NBA at home is one of the worst teams in the league on the road. I don't understand.
The comfortability, man. Some of them games too that they lost was very close ones, and it was streaky games that we saw. Like they'll lose at the last minute, but you know a loss is a loss, and definitely them being a veteran team, I hope that they pick that up because that's scary. I think that if they are a higher seed and they get like the home advantage, would that work out for them? Yes. I think that they can beat teams on the road in the playoffs, but at the same time, they're going to have their mindset, you know, focused and ready. Some of those teams like Golden State, when it comes to like their record, man, you don't really too much worry about. It's just when they go to the playoffs, man, you just want them to be the best team they could be, and hopefully they make the adjustments. I definitely feel like
you got to figure who they definitely going to be a better team this year. I mean, just for the simple fact, Klay Thompson is Klay Thompson again. It's been games of late. He's been showing up and showing out. So you figure if you get Steph Curry back and playing well, and then you still got, of course, Jordan Poole. We got to figure out what's going on with Andrew Wiggins because he did kind of disappeared in the shuffle lately. If we can get all them back on board, not to mention the fact that they have a deeper bench now than they did last year, you definitely got to consider Golden State one of the front runners.
as long as they can stay put and just continue to put the pedal to the metal, win a few games, win games out. Like, it's an important one right now. They're playing Memphis. They're 2 games above 500. But then and again, what's crazy, if they can so happen to win 2 or 3 games straight, man, they can climb up to like almost 4th to 3rd place. That's how close the West is. So it's like, if they could just put a couple good games together, 3 or 4 games, man, that's all you ask. And they could be in the driver's seat or have an advantage and have some games at home. But it's going to have to come with them making adjustments, and hopefully they can do that. But yeah, man, because Sacramento, I'm interested in seeing what they're going to do. There's a lot of young guys, De'Aaron Fox, Malik Monk, and Sabonis. It's just really good, and it's fun to see them play. But the West is always hard, and it's hard fought. And man, definitely with all the trades and the people being acquired in the trade deadline, it's definitely going to be it's going to be interesting, man. I definitely can't wait to see the Western Conference and how that play out.
Right, and then again, apparently don't sleep on the Lakers, because on and behold, they've been playing pretty good even without LeBron, because AD, a healthy AD, looking very dominant at times in games. So I really hope he can keep this up. And like I said, it seems like the complement players that they got, they starting to gel pretty good.
Yeah, because I definitely like the way they've been playing lately too, man. And like you said, they've been winning even without LeBron. Hopefully he could get back in the fold, because you want to play a full Lakers team. You definitely want to see how far they'll go, because I still feel like they might have the chance to be seeded versus playing in those playing games, which at first I wasn't too comfortable with and didn't like, but it's actually cool because you get to see more basketball at that time.
Absolutely. And then it's basically the want to go home. Them been some of the better games we've seen these last few years in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
But one team I definitely think you guys should take a little look-see at of late, that's been playing very well despite all their turmoil, is one Brooklyn Nets. I really like what I've seen out of them the last couple of weeks. What about you, Hugh?
Bridges, man, he was a guy who I still feel like is an X factor. And Finney Smith, I was surprised, man, how well they're playing now over there. Those are guys who didn't really get chances on their team. They was like the 4th, 5th, maybe 6th option at times. Now they're getting a chance to shine. Like Mikal Bridges was one of those guys that when I first saw him, I was like, man, this guy has a lot of potential, but he wasn't getting seen a lot because, his counterparts, it was too much talent over there. Now he get a chance to go to a team. Now they got a lot of young youth and talent. And yeah, man, I really feel like it's been interesting. They had a pretty good record before KD and Kyrie left, but at the same time, they're maintaining it and they're doing their damnness, man, to continue to compete.
And another thing I'm liking is somebody that basically was a throw-in in that trade, Cam Johnson. He's playing pretty good for the Nets, so much so that you kind of forget about a certain person that's on that Nets team that basically is out again due to injuries. Who knows how severe they are? That, of course, we are talking about the one and only Ben Simmons. But based on what I've seen, I'd be ready to buy him out at this point.
Yeah, because he's not a factor, and obviously he don't seem like he's bought in. And not only that, he has the passion for the sport anymore, the way he's been. And if you're in the NBA and you're a player and you're the player of that talent and that type of, caliber, all-star caliber, when you're in the NBA, first and foremost, man, you're one in a million. And you're not even going out there and displaying your talents. You're not, shooting the ball. You're afraid to shoot the ball. You pass first, shoot maybe 4th or 5th option, man. You can't have that, man. I feel like he's afraid of what people have to say, and he's intimidated by that. He might be one of those guys who's scared off by when people have criticized him, and he's scared of critics, man. You can't worry about them. I feel like he's not focusing on his game. And like you said, you see him in rec ball and he plays well. yeah, but it ain't like no shining lights. It's not 40, 50, 60,000 people's in the arena. It's a little different. And it basically reflects on that. And I just feel like with him, man, he's wasted that team time and money, man. I wouldn't have made that trade. And if I did, man, I would have made the Nets eat some of that money.
It would not surprise me 2-3 years from now if Ben Simmons is not in the league and you basically see him at Paris Fashion Week somewhere with his own design company or something. Because like I said, I don't think basketball is a priority with him. And that is why you get what you get from him. But like I said, you know, I would be doing my damnedest to prove the haters wrong at this point. I don't see him doing any of that. That being said, speaking of NBA talent, of course, one of the big stories in the last couple of days is the comments of one LeBron James, who basically pointed out on one of his Twitter posts that he felt that his son Bronny James, LeBron Jr., is already better than some of the folks in the league. What's your thoughts on that, Hugh?
I don't know quite yet, man. It's totally different from playing high school ball and coming in the NBA. But he was one of those guys who he lived up to his hype. Your son has to do the same thing, man. You know, he's definitely not you. It's possibly some guys he might be better than in the NBA, but we are talking about the NBA, you know, not the G League. So I feel like, yeah, I appreciate him hyping his son up and saying that, but at the same time, his son will have to prove it as well. You know, we already heard rumors like how Lonzo was better than Jordan ever was and all this stuff. And now you see this dude, he on his third knee surgery. So, yeah, you know, you could talk the talk, but if you can back it up, and then that's a different thing.
It's unfortunate what's going on with Lonzo. I'll just say that I pray that things work out for him. It's sad. I mean, basically, him and his brother both injured now with leg injuries. I hope they both come back healthy, and I think it'd be good for the NBA for those two to basically be back up and playing well. But going back to the LeBron issue, you know, it's gonna be hard for Bronny James, regardless of what college he go to, what pro team he ends up with, because your father is LeBron James. I mean, we go back to people such as young Michael Jordan, whose son was a college player and basically got as far as that. There was not as much pressure put on him as it is on Bronny, but you know, much like his father, we've been seeing Bronny play. Basically, if you're a YouTuber, you've been seeing him play since middle school because you could go on there now and see constant game. Basically, any game that Bronny played is probably some highlights for on YouTube. So you have a pretty good idea of what that game is like. Is Bronny a good basketball player? Absolutely. Is he better than you and I? Of course. Is he even the top 20 in his current graduating class? According to ESPN, he is not. According to what my eyes see, he is not. There are better players than him. Hell, they saying that this might actually be a situation similar to Venus and Serena, where the great player is not Bronny, but actually his brother, who people are hyping up. And you know, he definitely seems to have the better physical gifts in terms of what he's able to do on the court. So, you know, I'm hoping that they don't put that added pressure on Bronny, but you basically setting him up in a situation to where whenever he does get to a team, and granted, he'll probably be on whatever team you go to or you are on, he still want to deal with on the other side, oh, you better than me, huh? It's time to bake you and show you. Lord forbid the game where they play teams like the Memphis Grizzlies and you got a Dylan Brooks checking him and that. But notice that unlike with the Lonzo and Melo Ball situation, you ain't heard nothing from Brian. I don't even know what his voice sounds like in his senior year of high school with all this exposure. So I'm real curious to see what happens when he is allowed to talk for himself and what some of his thoughts will be. Yeah, go ahead, Hugh.
Oh, what Rose say? Steph is planning.
Oh, hold on. All right. Steph is planning. Not quite sure where we going with that one, Ro. I don't know if you meant Steph is playing or Steph is planning something for Bronny. I don't know, but nonetheless, yeah, Steph is back playing, and he played pretty good against the Lakers the other day, Sunday. Oh, say he's playing a good game tonight. Okay, yeah, we'll definitely look
Oh,
into that. But yeah, like I say, he looked pretty good. I mean, he got off to a little rusty start early on in the game, but as they got into the later parts of that game against the Lakers, he definitely was looking like Steph usually looks in those types of games. So, basically with him, like I said, if you get him back healthy in time for the playoffs, especially the way Clay been looking, they definitely gonna be a team you want to reckon with.
yeah, I was checking. I'm checking in on that game right now. Yeah, it's still a little close. 53-60 Grizzlies up right now in the second, so they still got a lot of time.
And then
So
that's a game to keep an eye on because just based on some of the comments back and forth this last year. So particularly of late with Draymond Green coming out on his podcast and having a little discussion about Dylan Brooks, I'm interested to see if there's any type of extracurriculars in that game this evening between them and the Grizz.
yeah, and I was looking into some of the college games too, man. Looking at some of the tournaments, and I was looking at
Absolutely.
something for North Carolina down right now, 44-51 to Virginia. Oklahoma State is getting blew out, which I kind of figured by Texas, 43-26. Xavier losing by 10 points to DePaul, ranked 15. So that's a shocker. I believe they might come back in that one though. But right now, DePaul got the upper hand. Marquette beat St. John's 72-70. Miami beat Wake, and it was in a close one. They basically barely survived 72-74. Iowa State beat Baylor, which was a surprise to me, 78-72. Duke steamrolled Pitt 96-69. Colorado got blew out by UCLA, which I kind of figured that might happen, 80-69. Providence lost to UConn, which UConn, man, I don't think you get them that much credit as you should. I know you give the women team credit, but man, you need to give more credit to the UConn men, dude. They ranked number 11 and they won 73-66 and been playing quite well this year.
Well, no, actually, I had a chance to check out UConn in the last few weeks or so. They do got a pretty interesting squad over there. That they got that kid Hawkins, who definitely looks like a first round pick when all is said and done. They got the big man Sanu, and he is a monster in the post. Big guy, definitely working on his skills. One of those kids that okay, you big, you should play basketball. So he kind of started late, but definitely is improving by leaps and bounds as the days go on. Then of course they have another big man over there in UConn that a good shot blocker and play some good post. So yeah, I can see them definitely going to the tournament and making some noise. But again, you'll notice in a lot of these big tournaments, because we got most of the major ones going on this weekend with the Big Ten, Pac-12, SEC, and so on. That it would not surprise you that the team that you think gonna win the tournament will not. Of course, they're going anyway. You know how that goes. But
Yeah.
much like the tournament itself, I still can't pinpoint any team or maybe even any four teams that I definitely think going to the Final Four right now. It's gonna be real interesting to see how people do the brackets, after this weekend. At least as far as
That's
the
what I'm more
weekend.
or less interested in. The tournaments are cool. I kind of check in and look at a lot of those games. Most times, don't even really be worried about it as much as I should. I'm more or less focused on when they do the rankings, and then it gets to more or less like to the March Madness. And it's good to watch the March Madness too. That's great for the basketball, especially college. But one thing I like about it the most is those teams, the underdog teams, man. You look forward to seeing that play and how it play out. But yeah, man, I definitely looked at a few games and it was like, man, it was kind of iffy. And it seemed like some of the better teams sometimes just, slack off, man. But I definitely want to know who gonna be the number one seeds in the tournament and see how that's gonna go out as far as once they come to the March Madness season, because this is like one of the best times for me in basketball, period, NBA or whatever. Because not only do you have the men, but then you have good women basketball in the tournament as well in March Madness.
Right. And on the one hand, the women kind of looking like, okay, this is the South Carolina Invitational, just like those years where UConn dominated. It's a pretty good bet that you at least see South Carolina going to the Final Four with ease. After that, you kind of have to wonder. I mean, you do got like that second tier teams, the LSU's, of course, my team UConn, Stanford, teams along those lines that should make out pretty well in the tournament. But it's a lot of good teams this year in the women's tournament, or at least will be. Teams that you definitely got to consider, like your Marylands and your Utahs and your Ohio States, your Michigan, that definitely could be a factor in all of it. They could come up with a good game that might upset one of the better teams. So I'm definitely interested in watching that as well. And like I said, just some great women players this year in terms of just dominant players like your Angel Reese's and of course your Leah Boston's and the kid in Stanford. Her name escapes me at the moment.
Who, Hetty Jones?
No, Brink. But yeah,
Okay.
Hetty Jones is another good player for Stanford, and then Diamond Miller over there in Maryland, and so on and so forth. So you definitely got some good players to watch in the tournament to look out for.
Yeah, because it's been really interesting to watch, man. Just fun to watch the women this year because man, you never know what's gonna happen. But for the most part, it's just been good to see Caitlin Clark doing what she normally do, and to see the dominance of Boston, and to see UConn still kind of stick around. What's crazy is it seems like, as we talked about before, the Coach Gene Auriemma is starting to seem like he losing a lot of them girls, and they getting tired of all that stuff that he pulled, the old school stuff.
But in the same token, it seemed like whatever he said in that press conference seemed to get him a bit of a boost because when they went to the Big East tournament, they did seem to take it up a notch, and it did seem like he loosened up. If you are seeing that viral video of him doing his version of the gritty during the tournament celebration, it seems like he didn't kind of won them back over for the moment at least.
And that's the thing. I think that he needs to be a little bit more relaxed, man. Yeah, I understand that he looks for perfection, but at the same time, man, it's like a lot of these teams, man, they go out there and they, put their blood, sweat, and tears out there for you, man. You should at least try to be a little bit more relaxed and enjoy the moment, man, rather than being so angry all the time.
Well, you got to understand that you coaching in a different era than you started in, and you kind of got to adapt with the times. That being said, I think that might be part of why we are getting the announcement that one Jim Boeheim, the long time coach of Syracuse, is finally stepping down after 48 seasons. What's your thoughts on that, Hugh?
Yeah, that was huge, man, to hear the fact that he was leaving. And I seen my man's Uncle Carmelo Anthony gave him a shout out too, on his retirement, because he said he hit on it in a few past press conferences. And yeah, I'm definitely thinking that that's going to be the case right now. But it's been really interesting to see how things went and how things are going with just college. And, for a coach to have that longevity, man, that's impressive.
Right, particularly one who basically you can see as somewhat of a gimmicky coach, because basically when you played Syracuse, you had to be ready for his patented 2-3 defense, where he put that 2-3 zone on you, and basically if you had some people that could work their way through the post or had some really good outside shooters, you probably was beating Syracuse. But if not, then it's gonna make it a long night for you.
Yeah, man. I seen it. Rose said the Warriors are down by 7. That must have been a little earlier when she said that, because what I'm looking at is them getting whooped on right now, 57-74.
Okay.
And going into the second half. Well, I'm going into halftime. Yeah.
Right
How
now,
did you feel, E? Oh, go ahead, man.
no, I was about to say, as you know, you still got to look out for the Warriors in the third quarter. As you know, if there's any team that plays well in the third quarter over the past decade, it's the Warriors.
Yeah, man. Wanted to say, how did you feel about the news coming out today that Georgetown and Patrick Ewing are parting ways. Yeah, we all thought that was a good feel good story to him going over there, but they were lacking in talent and just basically they've been getting beat up on pretty bad. And I guess after 6 seasons, they said, yeah, it was time for us to do something and go in the opposite direction.
It probably lasted longer than it should have. I mean, you got to give credit to Georgetown for basically giving Patrick Ewing some time to try to turn the program around. They basically, when they brought Patrick over, were thinking that they was going to get something similar to what Michigan got, and unfortunately, our Wolverines did lose in the tournament today, so it don't look like they're going to make the tournament this year. But for the most part, they had got a lot of growth with the addition of Juwan Howard in the program. They were kind of hoping for similar situations over in Georgetown. It just didn't work out for him. I'm hoping that at some point he does get another opportunity to coach somewhere, if not in the NCAA, possibly in the NBA one day. Because I felt like he was a good coach, but again, it goes down to recruiting and talent, and he just basically wasn't getting the type of talent that his predecessor, the great John Thompson, was getting over at Georgetown.
Absolutely. He probably don't. You probably don't ever see as much talent like that assembled in the Georgetown jersey and uniform again. So, I definitely understand that situation.
You have people that end up being Hall of Famers when you talk about Mutombo, Alonzo Mourning, of course Patrick Ewing himself, and of course the great Allen Iverson. That's quite a squad.
Yeah, man, definitely. When I seen their record, I wasn't really that surprised at how long he's been over there and it wasn't turned around. It's just unfortunate, man, because you want what's best for Patrick, man. Because unfortunately, too, that he should have never left the NBA, man. I thought they should have gave him a job while he was in the NBA. He's been assistant for so long, but going to college gave him a good feel of everything, man. And I think that that gave him an opportunity to go over there and just basically get more experience, man, on that level as a head coach. Hopefully, like you said, he'll get another job in collegiate or maybe on the team call him up in the NBA, take a chance.
Yeah, I think when we look next year, you'll see him on somebody's staff in the NBA, and sometime a bit later on, he'll get another opportunity to be a head coach in the NBA. So, I'm praying that that's how that works for him.
Yeah, Roll was right. My man's Steph Curry did actually pretty well before the half. He had 19, 3 assists, 5 rebounds, and Jaren Jackson is the lead scorer with 16, 2 assists and 6 rebounds. So yeah, that game's looking pretty bad right now. But like you said, Golden State's usually good with the halftime adjustments. Let's hope that they can do just that. But yeah, man. Definitely looking forward to the rankings and what's going on in college basketball, man. I love this time of year. But I'm definitely keeping my eye on too on Sunday, man. I believe around 1 o'clock. We probably hear what's going on around noon with some of them, and the deal's just not going to be official till the 15th. But from 1 o'clock all the way till I believe like maybe 10 or 11 o'clock that night, man, it's going to be real crazy. And I think that it's going to pick up with a lot of the teams and the talent. But yeah, this is really a good time in basketball, and it's a good time in, just sports in general. Because,
right. Remember, you not only got what we talked about, but remember, NHL starting to wind down, getting close to playoff season. Definitely, Boston Bruins are dominating in terms of the NHL right now. They have the best record in the league and playing some very quality hockey. For those of you interested in hockey, you'll got the PGA with the TPC championship this weekend, the Players Championship. As a person that kind of watches golf bits and pieces, is definitely one of my favorite courses to see them play, particularly one of the most famous holes, if not the most famous hole in golf, that TPC 17th, which is basically the island green that's surrounded by the water, and you see so many of the great players basically end up hitting it in the water, and that pretty much determines who wins or loses that particular tournament. So you got that to check out. And then, of course, we're about to start the track and field season soon. So we'll be having that to discuss. And of course, like I said, we got the XFL going, and the USFL will be starting soon. They got training camp going right now, so there's that. So yeah, definitely a good time to be a sports person. You even got the MLS season that started, so you got that
with the baseball.
Yeah, and of course, one of the things I'm liking, I have not watched a whole minor league or major league spring training game yet, but I have been actually looking at the box scores to see what the times are like, and many of the games are ending in about 2 hours 30 minutes. So I definitely think the improvements they have made to speed up the game are definitely working.
Yeah, because they want the game to be more relevant, man. Because I know the Yankees and Boston Red Sox, a lot of their games was the longest games played, 4 hours and 15 minutes. Most of them lasted 4 hours because the pitchers taking too long with the pitches, and it just seems like, man, they just drag on and on. And if you're not at a game or really enjoy the game like we do, you're not going to really want to sit up there and watch that. So yeah, they're trying to make it more relevant, and they're trying to make it to the point where we always hear when we ask people, how come you don't like baseball? Because they say it takes too long and it's boring. They're trying to cut that down now, because I know that we're not the only ones who hear that, but then the guys in charge of the game must hear that as well. So big up to Theo Epstein and a lot of the guys who trying to get these rules acclimated in, and just hopefully it works for the baseball and make it a better baseball season.
And I definitely need not only the MLB itself, but also the people that broadcast Major League Baseball to do a better and more successful job to hyping up the game and basically putting the stars out there more, so we start to hear more from your Mike Trouts and your Aaron Judges and people like that, so they become more mainstream, and that would also help to build the game as well, and also help to grow the game. As that's part of the problem. A lot of people understand that, yeah, you make a lot of money playing baseball, but in the same token, when you look out in the neighborhoods, you don't hardly see kids playing baseball anymore. They basically playing basketball and football.
Yeah, man, because one thing that I seen that they did, man, I like was we never really heard much about it. And now they're doing it now. You hear it in NBA and you hear it in NFL, but now they're actually ranking the players too on the game, or they're showing and they're basically releasing the players rankings on the MLB The Show. And this was the first time I ever seen them really advertise and put a lot behind it. But they had their 99 players, and some of the guys who are in the 90s. I'm about to go off about the list. The 99 players are, of course, Mike Trout, Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, Paul Goldschmidt, Jacob DeGrom.
Oh, yeah.
And going a little lower than that, which is 98, is Justin Verlander. That's impressive for a guy his age to be a 98E. Damn near remind me of Brady in his times on some of them games that had that long.
It basically reminds me of Nolan Ryan back in the day when he still was very dominant in his 40s.
Mookie Betts has a 96. Max Scherzer has a 96. Nolan Arenado 96. Manny Machado 95. Bryce Harper 95, and Corbin Burns are 95s as well.
Yeah, I think Arenado should be up with the rest of them around that 98, 99 range. He is by far the best third baseman in the league.
That's why that team is so dangerous, because you got Goldschmidt and him on the same team, man. That's unheard of.
Right. And like I said, they got a lot of not slouches on that squad as well. I think the key for St. Louis obviously is going to be who takes over at catcher and how well he does with that pitching staff.
Yeah, because it ain't going to be another guy like, my boy, man.
No, there's not a lot of Yadier Molinas walking around. It's very true.
Yeah, Yadi was the man. Better, I'm going to tell you how good Yadi was, man. Not just the Yadi himself, but the damn Molina family. All of those guys won championships, man. All of them won World Series before.
Yep.
As captain, man. That's a rare to see, man. Just imagine, because we don't even see that in the NFL, man. You just imagine if J.J. Watt, T.J. Watt, and Derek Watt all won championships, man.
Yeah,
That's
or like
impressive.
all the Gronkowski brothers that did make the league, but there's only the one you hear about because he's the only one that
Yeah.
won. I mean, we can go back in the day in baseball when we talk about Sandy and his brother, the Alomar brothers.
And Ken Griffin Jr. and Sr., you know, so yeah, man, to win championships, man, and the sport, man, for all three, man, that's
Right. I
unbelievable,
mean,
man.
you got the Boone brothers, Brett Boone, Bob Boone. It's the father who played, you know.
I definitely look forward to seeing what's gonna happen this season, man. But yeah, man, I'm gonna have to keep an eye out on that, man, because that's one thing you do know about me, man. Yeah, I love my Tigers, man, but you know, I definitely like the Cardinals too, man. Always have since Albert, and even now that he's gone, I'm gonna definitely keep my eye out on them and see what's going on with their catcher situation.
Right. So, you know, of course, as the baseball season comes closer to opening day, we'll give you our thoughts on who we think gonna do what. We'll definitely get into that. But of course, next week when we check in, it'll be tournament time, and you know the brackets will go down, and we'll give you some of our picks. And like I said, I think this is gonna be one of the harder brackets to pick. I definitely don't see nobody having a perfect bracket this season or anything close to it. It's gonna be interesting just to see how that go. Like I said, I think you have a better chance picking who gonna win on the women's side than you will on the men.
Agree, because the women's side has been really pretty much dominant, but a lot of them teams were made it so well and made it so good to watch, which you never know. Some of even the better teams was taking L's, man, the teams you least suspect. But most of the teams who did lose, they were at least in the rankings, you know.
Right,
But
and
it
then like
was
I
just
said, there
good
are
to
some very dominant players, and the one player I'm surprised neither one of us mentioned as far as the women's side goes is the person that's leading the NCAA in scoring. That would be young Maddie Secrets.
yeah, but you know, I always mention her, man, because she's a
You did
talented girl,
today.
man.
You did not today, my friend, but like I said, I was kind of surprised that you didn't. But yeah, if you haven't had a chance to see her play for Villanova and you basically gonna watch the tournament, definitely check her out. She's probably one of the best post players to come out since young Stewie.
Well, yeah, that's all I have for today, E man. You have anything else?
No, that's pretty much it for me as well. So we are going to wrap it up, people. Another good episode of Gametime Audible was had. But of course, before you wrap it up, you know there's one more thing you got to do, my friend. Handle your business.
Appreciate everybody, man, who've been tuning in and who've been going to my page. I'm at 209 now. I'm hoping to get more. Appreciate y'all checking out the stories and just, you know, kicking it with me on the page, man, you know, because I definitely like the feedback and just people making comments. But I definitely like to put more stuff into the page, like the stories. That's really been helping out, and just trying to do more interaction with the people who's on the page. And if it's something else you want me to put on the page or something you don't feel like I'm putting on the page, let me know, because definitely been growing my audience, and just hope that I can continue.
And then, of course, I know y'all been having fun lately with some of the stories. And of course, Hugh, who likes to make fun of certain players when they don't do the right thing or if they was a big loser and whatnot. So a lot of the these little cartoonish stuff that he does with the faces and whatnot, y'all know what I'm talking about if you are fans of the page. A lot of y'all have been interacting with him as well and liking that. So I'm pretty sure he will continue with that there. Like I said, we gonna spread things out as we start to get a little better health wise here in terms of the network and some of the stuff we're doing. Definitely look for the next episode of I Am Nighthawk come out sometime this weekend. And we are definitely working on some other smaller projects that are going to come out soon. So stay tuned. For those business owners and people running their own little businesses, we definitely want to hear from you guys. So we want to advertise for you. You know, some podcasts that start to grow a little bit and whatnot, They will charge you for advertising here at the network. We basically want to help you grow and in turn help us grow. So basically, if you have a little business or something you want to advertise on the page, please get in contact with me on my messenger page. If you have some things you would like for Hugh to do in regards to his page or maybe one of his upcoming projects, hit him up on his messenger as well. And we appreciate that very much. Thank you. So that means head on out and do what we do. And we will catch you guys next week in these GTA streets. There's my buddy Hugh cutting on out. And I am leaving as well. So that being said, let me hit you up with the closing critiques. Again, thank you, Hugh, for your efforts, and we will see you guys next time. Peace.
Gametime Audible is a Nighthawk Network presentation.